When I heard that Archer and Olive was going to be coming out with a professional line of notebooks, I got really excited. As a person that uses their bullet journal and their planners at work in a professional place of business, I do have to think about what I'm taking into work because my notebook, the cover, what's on there is definitely representative of me. I'm not going to walk into work with a glitter notebook and, be walking around with business people with that. I tend to go with a little bit more subdued. So it's either a plain color or if it has an icon on it, it's relatively generic. It's nothing super crazy. And I'm okay with that. I work inside of a creative space, so it's probably a little bit more accepted of me to have something like that. But if I was in finance or in some type of other wearing a suit to work every single day, I don't know that a lot of these notebooks would pass the test. And the notebooks that they put out as a part of this professional line, personally, I feel like missed the mark on what I would expect from a professional journal. So let's talk about what I would expect in a professional line, because I think that's a really important thing. Because this was my idea. When I heard professional notebooks coming from Archer and Olive, I thought of three things. The first thing is I definitely thought of the cover, which to me, professional, like refined, would have been a faux leather cover, maybe a really cool looking grain or something like that on there, and maybe very small. I was thinking like the ampersand, like in the bottom corner is what I was thinking about. No icon or anything on it, just very nice looking. I also thought page numbers, and I know I talk about this all the time. I know that Archer and Olive in the past has said, well, we're not putting them inside the notebooks because people might use these for art or different journaling things and they don't want page numbers or they want to create their own. And I absolutely respect that. But if you're talking about a professional line of notebooks, that to me is like perfect for a page number. You're keeping an index, you're referencing pages for work, for your notes, for whatever you're putting inside of there. It's kind of a miss to me, in my opinion. The other thing is kind of the accessories around the notebook. The pen loop, fine. Can't go wrong with the pen loop. But something about the charm on the notebooks, especially in a professional line to me, doesn't come across super professional. I think maybe they could have done something a bit differently. I know that's like a very nitpicky thing to talk about a little charm on the bottom, but honestly, even as a guy in a professional business, I do feel weird walking around work with a notebook with a little dangly ampersand off of it. And I talked about this in a Facebook post and someone's like, Mark, it's easy to just cut that off or get rid of it. That's great, but why am I doing extra work? It's almost like the page number stickers they put out with that previous release. I had to put a lot of extra time into getting page numbers inside of my notebook to use it how I want to use that. Why not just put them in there? Same thing with a professional line. If the expectation is that I can use this at work, a gold dangly charm off of my notebook, not really cutting it in a place of business, personally. So after all of that, what did we get? What is a part of their professional line? Well, we got three different colors that are a part of this. The first one is going to be like this warm gray color, but it has a lot of florals around the edges. The design itself is debossed, so they stick out a little bit. I think as a design, it is beautiful, but not really yelling professional to me, personally. There's another notebook that's a part of this collection, which is a brown Art Deco. So it's going to be a nice rich brown color, which I could totally see. That's kind of what I envisioned with a professional line, maybe that or a little bit darker. But having all the ornateness around the edges, while again, I appreciate the design of it, it's just not yelling professional to me. To me, the closest one they got to with professional is actually the black one with the plaid on top of that. It's a really cool looking pattern. It gives it some texture. It's subdued, but there's still a little bit of flair there in that Archer and Olive way. But everything I talked about before, the dangling charm, not having page numbers or other things inside of there, is what's going to take it away from the professionalism. And again, yes, I can get rid of that charm. People told me how to do it. And honestly, I will probably be getting this notebook and just cutting off the charm for it. The other issue that I have is that it didn't come in every size. And I think that's a big problem with this collection as well. The professional line only comes in an A5 size, Travelers, A6, and an LS, which is a letter size, which is pretty gigantic. But if we're going to do a letter size, why are we not doing a B5 size, which I know a lot of people use for work? And I even think a square would have been even better. The whole idea with using a notebook for work is having the space to do your work. And having used A5 for a really long time, that's definitely okay size. I think it makes total sense because it's kind of a common size that people have used for a really long time. But why are we going with small Travelers when you could do a B5 or even a square and really get the most out of your notebook, which is from the expectation of a professional line. And even what it says on the website is to use these for work feel like we're missing the mark there a little bit. I was really looking forward to the professional line, and I'm just slightly second guessing myself. Like, I feel like I would go for the black plaid one. Like I said, it's the closest for me. I've now been told how to take off the charm so it could feel a bit more professional. It only has 112 pages though. Not sure how that's going to work out. I usually use a lot more, but because the pages are so large, it'll be interesting to see maybe how this could work out for me in a professional setting. To be totally clear, I'm not dumping on Archer and Olive at all when it comes to this. I just personally feel like the professional line specifically missed the mark here. What's cool is they always listen to customer feedback. I've been asked for my feedback before on things too, and I will always give them the same answer on what I think would be great for this. Subdued, elegant designs, chopping off the charm and maybe doing something a bit different to get that branding through, and page numbers. And maybe an added bonus, maybe undated calendars in the front of their professional line too. That way you can use it as a planner, fill it out if you want to use it, or if not, you just have a beautiful doc grid notebook to use for the rest of it. That would be my recommendations. If you saw these notebooks and you're like, hey, Mark, I don't think that we're the same type of person. I really like these notebooks. Well, hey, I think you should go and check them out. There are other dated planners that came out with this release as well as undated planners. Honestly, the covers of the undated planners look very similar to what we saw here, which I think works out for those. Just don't call it professional if it doesn't really feel super professional. They should just made that a whole collection and just like took it to a really nice, elegant, streamlined look for the professional, my opinion here. And of course, this is totally up to you. This is my style. This is like what I'm looking for inside of a notebook. It may not be the same for you. You might actually see all of these and be like, Mark, I could take this to work today and nobody would flinch at what I have. And that's totally cool. And honestly, no one's really saying anything to me at work. It's just how I want to present myself personally. And I just want a little bit more of a elegant notebook to do that for myself. Now, you and I might work in different places, and you might think that these notebooks are exactly what you want for work or in a professional manner, and I say go for it. Just giving you my thoughts and feelings on this as someone who was really looking forward to this collection and then saw it and said, I don't think this is really professional. This could be done a little bit better. If you are interested in checking out the blog and looking more closely at these yourself, I'll go ahead and put the link for you down in the descriptions below for all of these notebooks and the collections, and you can give your own opinion. What do you think about the professional line from Archer and Olive? Does this meet your caliber for professional, or are there other things that you would have liked to see or a little bit of a different style for a professional line? I'd love to hear your opinions down in the comment section below. As always, appreciate you coming to hang out, listening to me as I rant on about notebooks because I'm just so passionate about them. And I'll check you out on the next video. See ya.